My question is, in a predominantly Christian republic, can a non-Christian or an atheist truly represent Christians?
No.
Why?
Particularly an atheist, I think. They don't have. There's no grounding for them. There's no root. I don't think there's anything there that really grounds them. They'll blow with the wind. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I would have to say yes, because if I said no, then I think they would flip around and say, well, how can any Christian represent me as an atheist then? And the only reason I say that is I actually met a woman, kind of touching back on your question, Dr. Scott, too. You know, I'm running against an African-American woman who was handpicked by Julia Carson to, fill a spot when the incumbent's dad died. And so I asked a black lady, do you feel that you can't vote for me because I didn't grow up as a minority, and therefore I can't represent you as a black woman? And she goes, that's exactly it. And I was like, well, if you follow that line of thinking, then I should never vote for somebody like President Obama. And she's like, that's crazy. And I was like, well, you're saying that you have to stick with someone who's exactly like you, or that person can't represent you. And I think we have to, at least recognize that just because somebody is exactly like you doesn't mean that they're going to do what's right for you. I think that, and everybody I've talked to, I've been to almost every neighborhood association meeting in my district, at least once. If I couldn't make it, I sent my wife in proxy, because I think that's where you find out what people are thinking and what people need. And if I'm going to represent people in my district, you have to know what they think and what they need. And if you're not going to do that, how can you possibly, then you're just representing what you believe and not finding out what they want you to do. And you have to, this is a paid job, and the job is called representative. And you are therefore being paid to find out what all the people in your district are wanting and doing, what they think, and then translate that into votes on issues. And there's going to be a lot of variation in that, and to some degree, by us being here tonight, we're letting everybody know this is what we believe and this is what we think. And if you don't think that way, don't vote for me, because I'm going to carry my beliefs into office. But there are an awful lot of issues that don't touch on faith. There's a lot of issues that don't require you to be a Christian or not to decide on certain issues. But we are going to do what we think is right. And I think that the biggest complaint I've heard is that things are too partisan. Things are too partisan, and people are making decisions not on what's right, but on what's right for their party, because there's money and power that goes with that. And I think that that's really where the Tea Party came from, is these guys in Washington on both sides of the aisle don't sound like they're listening to anybody back home, but they're listening to a whole lot of lobbyists, and there's a whole lot of money going on right there. And if they're not out of office, that's okay, because the lobbyist that they're buddies with is going to give them a job once they're out, and they'll make more money. And that's where people are really frustrated with politics. And I know Dave, and I've talked to Marvin a lot, and I don't think any of us have a partisan bone in our body. And that's kind of what's brought us in here. Not just in here, but into the political arena, is because at some point you have to do what's right and not what's going to get you elected. I don't know that we're looking to be politicians. You know, this has taken me away from my kids a lot. And for, you know, people who are interested in running, I encourage everybody here to at least think about something. There's school boards, there's trustee jobs, there's all kind of local stuff. You don't have to run for president, but at least getting involved enough to know what's going on. And you guys are all here, so you already have passed that test. But, you know, we get caught up in all these smaller issues, and we're losing sight of what's the big picture and where we're heading as a country. And I'm rambling again. You shouldn't even give me a mic.